Now, I'm pretty impressed by the comeback here we've shown in Supercoach and heading into sort of head-to-head finals. Just made it through, thankfully. 8 out of 8 league wins there and finished in second in a pretty important head-to-head. And I'm still in sort of, I think I'm making it through. Mr. Kane Anderson's got a league there with all the Central Coast people, just friends and different things that do play. And I've made it into the head-to-head sort of knockout finals there for that as well, which is good. So it's, as I said, it's been a nice little run, and 1259 this week into 2,612, a 562 rank gain, and 5 trades left. So that part, we're using two per week at the moment, just to get things together, and very much hoping that Payne Haas plays this week, because then I can just go Haas Carrigan up top in front row forward. And second row forward is a little bit frustrating at the moment personally with Isaiah Yeo going down. I'd say he probably misses a week, but we'll see how that one ends up. And if he does, I'll have to make some moves. But Farnworth is the injured guy down in centre wing, and I could do some up and down kind of movement with Kane Bradley to get someone to trade in for, like Hudson Young, these types of guys, which we'll go through in a second there. And my only sort of misstep this week was once Adam Dewey moved to halfback. It was against the Panthers, so I still hadn't heavily considered the change, but with him at 13, I wasn't a big fan. And then the late change, I could have moved Ramian out and played Dewey there. So end up sort of missing out 49 points from there. But would I have actually done it? It's probably like a 60-40 no, with yes, him playing halfback, but they could have got absolutely smashed against the not against the Panthers, against the Doggies there in the wet as well. Not a super exciting kind of matchup for him there in general, but he played incredibly well, and he still lost money with 105. So he'll be good for the following weeks. I really like him at 7, and that'll be great. But 56 from Ramian, to be honest, was the third best centre wing score, and it was not a week clearly for centre wings and for fullbacks, with Edwards getting that try, Carraz getting one, and Farnworth obviously dominating for 18 minutes there for his 69. But Teddy 44, Drinky 34 there, Garrick's 23, which this next week against Raiders will be a little bit tough. But following that, he's got 4 really nice matchups, so he'll be interesting to muck around with in that one, and has lost a good amount of cash. So for those that haven't bought yet, he's still owned by a lot of people there. SC Plus, does it change it there for us? Surely it's a big break even too. 144, but because it's round 23, hasn't changed yet. But he's sitting in a spot where 49% of teams, so a lot of teams in the top stats and in the top percentages, I should say. Now, I still think he's a pretty clear hold, and looking at my team at the moment, what I think has actually helped me come back in this last sort of couple of months is more around the getting the cheapies in and getting the really good guys, as many of them as possible. And this year, probably a little bit different. I may have, right now anyway, this last couple of weeks, probably preferred to have that little bit more coverage, just because, this week if Isaiah Yeo's out, I've got Tino out still sitting there, and then Kane Bradley and Thomas Cant, and having to sort of force a trade to get the full squad on the park. And yes, you could muck around with an AE. We've got most of these guys out, right? The cheapies like Lawson, Cant, Bradley, Simpkins, and then to have guys on bye like Dewey and Terrell May, you're sitting there like Farnworth obviously out, but I'll trade him. Really, I could just play Starling or have that one AE, trade someone in for Herbie, play and sort out Isaiah Yeo, and then just play Starling straight up, and there's your 18. I could easily do that and still have a solid enough team, or make the 2 trades and have that one AE type thing. But either way, probably having a nice swing at the fences for a VC. So there are a couple of things to look at, and coming into your head-to-head matchups as well, heading into round 23 for me, I made the top 2, which is good. So 2v3. I just wanted to make sure I was in that final 4. So I played James, the Pinging Pongers, and this is an important one, because if we can get this win here, we get the week off. And now if I'm looking at potentially getting a Hudson Young, Matt Timoko, these types of players like that could be fun on the list. With them having the bye next week, yes, overall it's going to hurt us a little bit, but for head-to-heads like this and the NPCC one with Kane Anderson, the Podmasters man, we would get a break in, well, definitely the normal head-to-head, go straight into the prelim. So things like that are interesting. If you can get through, pick the guys for a big round. Huddy's coming off a couple of low ones, and then he drops down to like 650k. Then you can get the buy and get out on the other side and have a good one like that. So they're the interesting things to think about. And with 5 trades, do I want to go down to 3 by using a couple there? But something simple like Farnworth being out for basically the year now, 4 to 6 weeks. He is such a high price as well. That's an important one to move on from and get another gun. Although guns, as we will see in a second, they're few and far between at the moment. It's a bit of like pod play and different things like that can work out best for you. And then, if Yo's a sort of a week-to-week prospect, Tino likely to come back in sort of 2 or 3 weeks. Make sure they try and stay off the bottom of the ladder. It's a setup there where, do you make the couple of trades? Like something simple for me this week could be Farnworth. Have a quick look at centre wing while we're here. But, Matt Timoko, 666k, got Beau Fermor at 580, Dane Gagai 688. They're in real good spots there, but, Gags comes up against the Panthers, and it naturally gets a little bit easier after that with Cowboys, and then Broncos will be an interesting one, Sharks and then Para. So it's an okay run, but he's been awesome at the back. They're 104, 93, 92, getting some attacking stats and plenty of running. Him at 688 is a really fun pod play. So I could go straight swap for that, but if I'm going to need a second row forward, and do I want 2 second row forwards? That's the question. I could just sub Kane Bradley, and as I said, go for like a Hudson Young there at 652, knowing that he has the bye next week, and there may be a resting down the track in sort of the last round or something like that. But who's the best chance this week for me to have a really good score? You got Hudson Young that has probably more upside than someone like Aaron Clark with the consistency. Beau Fermor is going to be a little bit up and down at times. Very much the same with Britton Nickera, but at 540k is a fun little option there. And the Sharkies, we've got Adam Fanua-Blake as well, who's very, very cheap in the early 500s as well. But following this, it's got Dragons game, who Britton likes to play against. He likes to play against the Titans as well in the last 3 clashes. And that's the Knights following that. And then the Doggies in round 27. And they do have a bye remaining as well in round 25. So if we were to buy Sharkies as well, if we make the prelim, or if you make the prelim as well, they're going to be out in that round 25 clash as well. Kai Pearce-Paul at 575 is a pretty fun one. I'm looking at him in fantasy a little bit, just as a fun option. He scored a try last week to get his 96. Really solid before that, 260 odd scores. So him under 600 is a fun little pick. But let's say, Hudson Young has the highest upside. You've got Preston there, 77 with a try in that one as well. And there's few and far between in the lower ranks. But let's just say, just to show you what I've been thinking about, Hudson Young comes in. And because I'm getting a little bit lower on trades, let's say I use one more to get down to 3. Some options that we can come up with is actually, plays like Thomas Cant for a second trade out. Gets you 609k, and that allows Preston's, it allows Beau Fermor, it allows Nickera, it allows Adam Fanua-Blake in front row forward as well at 514k coming off a try game. So some really fun little options there. Aaron Clark as a safety option. Oh wow, almost exactly is the correct price there. And he has that dual flexibility, second row forward, front row forward, which in terms of actual playing players, if I add him into front row forward now, I can do some switchability work with Carrigan. So that's some interesting thoughts there. And having that upgrade from someone who's a non-player just gives me that extra flexibility around, and then hopefully Tino can come back in the last few rounds as well, but extra flexibility around lasting out the year basically, and making sure I have enough players week to week and especially in the final week to get a good score out in the park and improve on last year's 2000 score, 2000 rank I should say. Hooker is still very clearly Blake Brayley, picked up 2 try assists on the weekend and an 81 score. Get rid of Mr. Farnworth. So an 81 score there. McInnes with a try as well for 79. And then Connor Watson at 544. Still a really nice price, but less upside at the moment although I didn't mind how he looked on the weekend in that type of role. Kurt Donahue will be safe at 544, but and he's still got Harry Grant in there with his average at 62 for the year. Picked up a 52. Less attacking stats for him on the weekend. Actually, just did have the one try assist, I should say, less base stats for him, given they had the ball plenty. So that's the hooker position there. In terms of halfback, Cleary Hines is very, very simple up top. Sammy Walker is a fun one as well, 644, but not overly loving that one. Isaiah Katoa and Fogarty still have their flaws. So really it's just, get those two guys in halfback. In 5'8", there you're looking at Campbell. Really just the upside is tremendous, and their run gets crazy. So there's apparently a bit of chat that Keanu Keeney might come back, but looking at the run that these Titans have, it's South into Sharks, Warriors, Dolphins, Tigers to finish. So Campbell, I feel like, is pretty close to a must-have. Even if you can't get him at 5'8", you've got Deard and Campbell or something, just get him in at fullback, because even Drinky's not even goal kicking now or general play kicking. So yeah, it's a tough one out there. Jamam had a good week, but it's been poor. Dearden with the sin bin, that hurt him in this one. But overall, they have a pretty nice run to finish, and it won't be pissing down rain in all of their games. You got AJ Brimson, had an absolute belter on the weekend, 117, and has been really good over the last 5, averaging 78. Yes, including that. Dewey next week, if he's at 7, which he should be after their bye, he's going to be a fun one as well. So 5'8" is actually sticking up as not such a bad position, to be honest. Centre wings, outside of a couple of those guys, is pretty awful at the moment. But yeah, we've got the injury to the best player in Farnworth, and then you're picking the pods in Gagai and these types of guys. Still, I think, you got the top 3 there. Pap came back with a lowly 48, unfortunately. Hammer has been decent, clearly, in the last 3, 94.7 average with the big one a couple of weeks ago. But Reece Walsh, the big 134, and he's been the pod play that has worked in the last 3 weeks. They're averaging 91 or 86 over the last 5, which has been big. Turbo in the wet, it's always going to be tough. Keanu Keeney at 707 will be a fun little pod, and wonder if we'll get Latrell Mitchell in a few weeks. So yeah, that position down there in fullback and centre wing, it doesn't look as good right now, but it's more because of the wet weather that we did have. And actually, I should note as well, the trade I ended up making, it was going to be Nickera or Hudson Young, and I got pretty lucky with that one. That thankfully it was neither, because I needed a front row forward in there, and I decided to go for the dual position Carrigan, thinking that he'd be able to have a bigger game with Haas out, and he didn't need to until he got that last pass, cutting out the one, the A defender, and just a nice easy try assist to Reece Walsh. And I was a bit annoyed that they hadn't given it straight away. I was like, what's going on there? Like, it was a new play, and it's not like he just dropped it off. It was actually like a longer pass to feed him straight into the gap. So that part was good. I'm glad he got that one out there, which was very nice. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking I might have to do, because Cam Bradley will drop down. It'll be like Thomas Cant in that spot there. That will do the job for me, I think. Yeah, Thomas Cant will probably get up to, could be Aaron Clark. Like, you know that he's going to be there and play every game. I know it's not sexy. You can go the Sharks guys, but then having, Hines, Ramian out in a couple of weeks' time, as well as like an AFB or Nickera, could be a small issue. As we said with them, though, they have the Dragons this week into the Titans, into the Knights. It's still a pretty nice like set of matchups. Dragons won on the weekend, though. Oh, the 180, 2023 round 4. I know Whisper remembers that one. He was shouting to the rooftops about captaining his boy in that one. But yeah, moving on to the leagues, just the JBFA crew. David into 37th, an incredible effort from him, overtaking Scoop in the last few weeks, who is still going really, really well at 64th. And that's Jaden, Jacob, Matthew, Max, Donald, and Hayden in there to go along with myself. Finally moved into the top 9 from 11th, and Jared in there at 10th. So yeah, good to be in the top 10, improving, thankfully. And then the Podmasters crew into 22nd out of 105. So really, really proud of that effort so far, and the potential to continue building on that. Luke into 18th, and then Matthew into 25th, and then Scoop just around at the top 100 there in 64th. So yeah, there's a few teams to kind of chase down there. Oh, close to Timmy Williams now. 1183. What's that leave us? Almost 50 points behind. So it's not too much. It's at 48 points for 350 ranks. That's not too bad. If you kind of make up ground on 100 points on people, then yeah, that pushes me near sort of like 1700 or something like that, which would be really cool. And as I said, got a win in all of the head-to-heads, which was nice. In terms of cheapies, guys, with Herbie out, you probably don't need to look at any of those guys. And I think at this point, just filling out your squad now that you're running out of trades with as many guys that are actually scoring and have the potential to score really well, I think is going to be the correct play there, guys. And the way I'd be looking to go with it, to be honest with you, in at the moment and how things are going. And just to finish off, guys, the history, and let us know how your last couple of months has ended up there. So last year, what did you end up finishing? We finished at 2663. So I'm actually basically in the same spot right now. The best we got to last year was actually 2300. 2301. So yeah, managed to get down to that spot, moved down since sort of round, well, the worst I got this year is about 11,000. So yeah, round 7 in 2024, 8.5K, and then peaked out, unfortunately, in round 19, and then never really recovered and finished at 2663. So for this year, it's for it to improve. And you can see there, I actually had a fair few, sorry, that's this year, look at trades for last year. You can see there, I was absolutely pumping trades from round 18, really. So 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then 111 to finish. So coming into after round 22, I had 7 trades left. So this year I've got 5, but it actually didn't really help me last year. I feel like I was just kind of making trades to try and make some gains, and at that point there was a limited amount of injuries, and it just didn't really need to keep the trades in the bank. Whereas this year I feel like I've got a pretty solid squad, and last year I felt like I was a bit more expanded on how many sort of mid-range guys and stuff like that. I had a fair bit of coverage, and I was just trying to make little moves here and there. Whereas this year it's like a very succinct, like 20 that I've got, and sort of the five cheapies, and getting better scores week to week has been the play. You can see there, just sort of moved into a really good spot at 4,994 in round 6, and then pushed out to 11,000, and then really improved from there. It did take about 4 weeks until I started getting it moving, but every week, apart from round 21, I went up 40 spots. But since then, I've really pushed down from that 11,800 into 2,600 now. And a lot of that, through that time there, was able to go 2 trades for a bit, then go 0, 1, 2, 1. So managed to survive a little bit through there, keep a few trades in the bank to then make this couple of moves here and keep pushing me in the right direction. So we'll see how it all ends up there. We managed to, we'll do a review again of 2025 and compare it to 2024. And I had all my notes for last year. So if you are interested in that, guys, make sure you do check in with the channel at the end of the season there. I'll do the review, and I've definitely improved on my game here, and hopefully it ends up showing, and I do beat last year's 2,600, which could have hoped for a little bit better last year, but should be in a position here to make sure that I can do that. The old team values are taking a bit of a hit the last few weeks. 15.6 I was in round 19. I got to 16 million in round 13. So yeah, dropped down to 15.165, which is a little bit tough. But yeah, we should continue, hopefully, moving in the right direction, and hopefully win a couple of these head-to-head finals and semis and bits and pieces like that. So let me know where you're at coming into round 23 and your trades remaining, and where you're at in your league and everything like that. And I'd love to hear all that down in the comments. And a big thanks to everyone for watching the Supercoach stuff, and we'll be here once a week, every week, until the season's done, and we'll have our review from there.